World War II was defined by cold-blooded slaughter and destruction. But within the 22nd Artillery Supply Company of the Polish Corps, there was a furry miracle. Picture this: Italy, 1944. You see a 6-foot-tall, 500-pound brown bear sitting in the passenger seat of an army truck, chugging a bottle of beer while surrounded by soldiers smoking cigarettes. No, you're not hallucinating. That's Corporal Wojtek, the only bear in history to hold an official military rank. His story began like a fairy tale. In 1942, a group of exiled Polish soldiers at an Iranian train station encountered a young boy carrying an orphaned cub. He was skin and bones, barely clinging to life. Moved by compassion, the soldiers traded a few cans of beef, chocolate, and a Swiss Army knife for him. They named him Wojtek. Lacking milk powder, these rough soldiers emptied vodka bottles and fed him condensed milk instead. Perhaps that's why Wojtek developed a lifelong love for bottled liquids. Growing up in a military camp, Wojtek had a serious identity crisis. He had never seen another bear. He was raised by men in uniforms. Naturally, he believed he was just another soldier, only with a bit more fur. He lived like a true veteran. He smoked. Soldiers would give him cigarettes, which he'd puff on once before swallowing them whole. He drank beer. It was his absolute favorite pastime, and he could outdrink anyone. He even learned to turn on the showers, often using up the entire camp's water supply in the summer. Once, an Arab spy broke into the bathhouse, only to come face to face with a massive bear taking a shower. The spy surrendered in pure terror. Without lifting a paw, Wojtek had captured his first prisoner. In 1944, the unit prepared to sail from Egypt to the Italian front. A British embarkation officer stopped them at the docks. "Hey, no pets or wild animals allowed on the ship." The Polish soldiers snapped back. "He is not a pet, he is our comrade." The British were firm. Only soldiers are allowed on board. The Poles came up with a genius workaround. Overnight, they officially enlisted Wojtek into the army. Name: Wojtek, rank: private, unit 22nd Transport Company. He even had his own service number and paybook. The British had no choice. He was a documented soldier, and so Wojtek marched onto the transport ship with his head held high. If Wojtek was just cute, he would have been a mere mascot. But during the brutal Battle of Monte Cassino, he proved he was a true warrior. The mountain terrain was too rugged for vehicles, making ammunition supply a nightmare. Wojtek stepped up. He walked to the trucks, reached out with his massive paws, and hoisted 100-pound crates of mortar shells, carrying them steadily to the front lines. Through the heavy gunfire and explosions, he never faltered or fled. Seeing his massive silhouette moving through the smoke, the Polish soldiers were inspired. If a bear is fighting this hard, what do we have to fear? After the victory, the 22nd Company changed its official insignia to a bear carrying an artillery shell, a badge they still wear today. When the war ended in 1945, it was the start of peace, but also the start of a heartbreaking goodbye. The Polish soldiers were in exile, unable to return to their Soviet-controlled homeland. The unit was disbanded. Wojtek was sent to live out his days at the Edinburgh Zoo in Scotland. For a bear who had seen combat, drank with heroes, and slept on blankets with his brothers in arms, it was a cruel transition. He was behind bars, a mere spectacle for tourists. Wojtek was a star, but he was lonely. Until one day, a few elderly men in civilian clothes arrived at the zoo. They hopped over the fence, ignoring the screams of the keepers, and ran toward the bear. They were his old comrades. They called his name and spoke to him in Polish. In that moment, the aging Wojtek perked up his ears. He recognized the voices. Just like the old days, he stood up and gestured for a cigarette. Until his death in 1963, he would always respond with excitement whenever a visitor spoke Polish to him. It was his only remaining link to the home and the brothers he once knew. Wojtek was more than just a bear. To those exiled Polish soldiers, he was a pillar of strength. Between a lost homeland and an uncertain future, this gentle giant was their only source of warmth.